Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday. You're watching the 9 at Night. I'm Stephania Jimenez, and tonight we begin with the hunt for a new San Antonio councilman. District 10 Councilman Clayton Perry announced that he's on sabbatical following his public hit-and-run case, and now the city needs to find someone to do his job, but it's not going to be cheap. City Hall reporter Garrett Berger explains why the plan is going to cost San Antonio taxpayers twice as much.
To be the next District 10 council member won't take much. Applicants who meet basic criteria like being a citizen and a resident of the city for at least a year and a D10 resident for at least 6 months only have to fill out a few forms to throw their hats in the ring.
It's up to the councilors how they want to have District 10 want to have input on it. I'm sure we'll come up with a public outreach plan.
The city says Perry's sabbatical began Monday, but the council will have a chance at their next scheduled B session on November 30th to choose up to 3 candidates from the applicants. They'll be able to interview them during their A session the next day when they can vote. The candidate they choose by a majority vote will be able to take office immediately. But the appointment isn't permanent.
Whichever is the soonest, either he comes back or his term runs out. I know those two for sure.
But during that time, a city spokeswoman says the city will pay both Perry and the temporary appointee according to the nearly $46,000 annual salary of a council member. One measure of uncertainty is committee participation. The mayor just reshuffled assignments on Monday to strip Perry of his assignments and give Councilman Mario Bravo new ones. Bravo had been suspended from his previous appointments during the investigation into his angry confrontation with Councilwoman Ana Sandoval. The reshuffle, though, didn't take into account the still undetermined D10 appointee. The mayor's office says they'll revisit the assignments after the appointment. Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Now, Councilman Perry's chief of staff is telling KSAT that the councilman is going to work with the city's Human Resources Department to defer his salary while he's on sabbatical. Now to Uvalde, where tonight a new report shows the city's then interim Uvalde police chief knew there were victims inside the school during the shooting at Robb Elementary, but failed to act. Audio recordings obtained by CNN showed Lieutenant Mariano Vargas was told by a dispatcher that 8 to 9 students were still alive. The dispatcher told Vargas that around 12:16. The shooter was killed about 45 minutes later on May 24th. Now, Vargas relayed the information to a Border Patrol agent inside the hallway at 12:17, but didn't mention it to a Texas Ranger around a minute later. CNN's report comes a week after Vargas won re-election for county commissioner with 45% of the vote. Now, CNN asked Vargas for comment, and he told the news outlet he couldn't speak about the police department based on guidance from lawyers. We're going to have a crew in Uvalde tomorrow covering Vargas's first day at Commissioner's Court since the election. Let's switch gears now. The news is getting better for the family of Eric Cantu, who is sharing an update on his condition nearly 6 weeks after a San Antonio police officer shot him in the parking lot of a McDonald's. The family shared that photo on their GoFundMe. It shows Cantu right there in the middle. He's smiling as he recovers from being shot numerous times, including in the stomach and lungs. Now, Cantu's father posted this message along with the photo saying, quote, "After 6 long weeks and by the grace of God, along with all the prayers sent by the masses, we are emerging victoriously from this unfortunate event. You're the first to see this smile, and I'm one proud father to see this young man fight so hard to be here," end quote. Tonight, San Antonio police are searching for the person who opened fire at an apartment complex. That shooting happened just before 5 a.m. at the Parker apartment homes in the 6600 block of Fairdale Drive on the northeast side. That's near Ritterman Road and Loop 410. SAPD says a 25-year-old man was hit in his stomach and arm. Officers believe the shooting happened as a result of a fight that happened in the laundry room. Police say the suspect was wearing a red hoodie and has locks. The victim is expected to be okay. The investigation is obviously ongoing. A new protective order apparently not enough to stop a man who allegedly had a knife and arson in mind. Police say he showed up at a woman's apartment and just started a fire. Bexar County jail records show 26-year-old Dominique Rogers was arrested for arson and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Police say that Rogers showed up at a woman's apartment, threatened her with a knife, and then lit her balcony on fire. The woman did put the fire out. She wasn't hurt. As for Rogers, his bond is now set at $169,500. San Antonio firefighters are trying to figure out what caused an early morning fire that left $20,000 in damages to a family's home. Fire crews responding to the home along Spot Street along Palo Alto Road around 6:30. They say the fire was in a room that was attached to the back of the house. The room had a door that went outside, but no door going into the home, so that complicated things for firefighters. Now, they went into the main home to fight the fire. Nobody was there except for a dog. Firefighters rescued it and gave it oxygen. One thing making it easier for firefighters to fight fires these days is the fact that it's just not as dry out. And as you've noticed, it's cooler too. Meteorologist Adam Caskey has your forecast.
Unseasonably cool air in place, and it's going to stick around for at least the next 7 days. 7 a.m. Wednesday morning, we're talking 38 around San Antonio, down to Pleasanton 41, Timberwood Park 37, and Stone Oak 39. By the afternoon, we don't warm very much. We're just in the mid-50s for a high temperature. Then 58 Thursday and Friday. By Saturday, reinforcing shot of cold air, so 48 degrees, the high temperature on Saturday. And with it, low clouds and the chance of a few very light showers, isolated in nature off and on throughout the day. And notice the warmest will be is the upper 50s between now and the middle of next week.
That's the warmest. Yeah, so between that forecast and the tree that you're about to see, it's beginning to look a lot like the holiday season right here in the Alamo City. The HEB Christmas tree is now set up at Travis Park. The nearly 50-foot Nordman fir tree isn't decorated just yet, but when it is, it's going to have more than 10,000 lights and colorful handmade ornaments. It's going to be lit during an in-person event on Friday, November 25th. And that day, VIA is going to bus people to that event for free. The event is also going to feature free ice skating, giveaways, and movie screenings. So hopefully you're in a giving mood because our KSAT Community Share the Shoes campaign is going on right now. So here's the deal. You can donate a new pair of socks or shoes to children in need. Just take your donation to any of the San Antonio police substations through December 16th. This donation drive benefits Zapatos, which works with schools to give kids the shoes they need. You can find more information on the KSAT community page, which is on ksat.com. Now, we have to warn you, holiday travel is going to be all the buzz. So if you are hitting the road next week, brace yourself. AAA says that 54.6 million people are expected to travel this holiday season, which is up slightly from 2021 and nearly as high as pre-pandemic volume. So despite inflation and current economic woes, demand for travel really doesn't seem to be waning. And with COVID travel restrictions now lifted, people are able to gather again. AAA also says that Americans are much more comfortable taking public transportation again, like airplanes and trains. Now, coming up tonight at 10, a new hurdle for a proposed Uvalde fundraiser. Just a week after victims' families pulled their support, the potential problem that could put the brakes on Balling for Uvalde. That story and more tonight on the Nightbeat. Now, before we go, there's so news tonight about the economy. According to the federal government, wholesale prices, which are a key measure of inflation, rose by 8% last month compared to last year. And yes, that 8% number sounds high, but it's actually lower than experts were forecasting. So basically, prices did go up. Yes, we all know that, but it happened at a slower pace. And this report is important because it could indicate that inflation is slowing down. Fingers crossed. We're out of time. The 9 at Night returns tomorrow. Have a beautiful night and stay warm.